Hello, you guys, and welcome to the first ever episode of Single Mom Thriving. If you are OGs of mine from the old podcast, Her Best Fucking Life, I am so excited that you have carried over to here. If you are new, I'm so excited for you to be here. I have not done a podcast in a hot minute. It's been like years. I'm not even joking. If I had to guess, it was like after my separation, during the beginning of my divorce, and as anyone knows, it is a roller coaster. I kind of fell off of things, and I have really missed podcasting. I've obviously been on by other social media things. I've still been writing. We're going to touch on that in a minute, but I am so excited. First episode of Single Mom Thriving. Here we fucking go. I'm pumped. So I wanted to use this little intro episode to kind of talk to you guys a little bit about what to expect here. I plan on doing this as YouTube and a podcast, so you can watch episodes either place. If you are someone that likes to watch things, you can totally hop on over to my YouTube. I will be recording all of these as videos as well. Or if you are a listen in the car after you drop the kids off kind of girly, we hear you, mama, you can also listen to these as a regular podcast. But we're going to dive in. I'm going to share what to expect, how I got the idea for this podcast, kind of the things that led up to it, a little bit about my journey becoming a single mom, and what to expect in the future. So let's just jump right into everything. I have got my coffee. My daughter is off to dad's for the next 2 nights. So that is how I put this time aside to not have a screaming 4-year-old around, to actually have time to sit down. My cup of coffee is hot, y'all. It is not a cold cup of coffee that I made this morning and reheated 14 times because my kids were running like crazy. No, she is at dad's. So I made a hot cup of coffee and I am ready to sit down with you guys, dig into this first episode, and really get something great going. Okay, so if you are an OG, you may already know who I am, but for those of you that are new or just finding me, or maybe someone just sent this podcast to you, I want to do a quick about me, just so you know who you're about to be hanging out with. So I am a 36-year-old single mom, business owner. I am divorced. We'll get into all that throughout these episodes, I'm sure. I own a beauty business in the Detroit area. It is called 24 Luxe Beauty Bar. I opened that in 2020. It is a full-service beauty bar. The only thing we don't do there is hair. So we do like brows, lashes, facials, waxing, tanning, nails, I don't even know if I said that, all the things, hydrofacials. If you are local, come give us a shout out, support your fellow single mama out here in the Metro Detroit area. And then before that though, my whole business actually started as 24 Luxe Hair and Makeup, which is my on-location bridal hair and makeup team based out of the Downriver and Detroit areas. And we have been around since 2013, way back in the day. That was my business baby, and it has grown and evolved into what it is today. And I'm so very proud of it. You guys will, I'm sure, hear about it. We'll talk about balancing, working and being a single mom, being a business owner and being a single mom. I'm sure we'll get into all those avenues. But my business keeps me pretty busy. It allows me to support myself and my daughter. I don't get much help when I get help. So I'm sure there's a lot of moms out there that can relate to kind of doing most of it on their own. And I'm very blessed and grateful. I'm a crazy hard worker, but I also have been blessed with an amazing team over the years that has helped me build the business into what it is, that fortunately does allow me to support myself and my daughter and our lives as a single mom. So beyond that, I have done a lot of entrepreneurial things in the past. If you've been around, you probably know I have like 12 or 13 self-published pieces on Amazon. Some are full-length books, some are quicker reads, some are like journals, workbooks, all kinds of fun stuff. So definitely check those out. I will be telling you guys about my most recent book because it does kind of tie into the whole single mom life thing. But if we want to go all the way back to the beginning, I started writing and started sharing my life on the internet, on podcasts and YouTube videos, in books, and doing all of these things when I got sober. I am just over 10 years sober. Hello to all my sober sisters out there. It is not easy, but it is so worth it. I had quite an issue with alcohol, sometimes involving drugs as well, and I almost lost my life, which is what led to my getting sober. That is how I started writing, though, and kind of sharing my world with the world. I wrote my first book, Sober as Fuck, and self-published it back in like 2017, and made my first YouTube video about sobriety that just like blew up and took off. And from there on out, I realized I had a message and a story to share with people. And that message and that story has just really carried over from chapter to chapter. First I was talking about sobriety. Then I was talking about, living your best life. My old podcast, this used to be called Her Best Fucking Life, which also turned into a women's event in the Detroit area called Her Best Fucking Brunch that I used to host, which is taking a pause right now because it just wasn't the vibe at the moment. So kind of like changed directions, I should say. But that was like my next chapter. I was living my best life. I wrote books about that. There's so much content on the internet about that. My wedding, I was married, I had a child, I wrote a pregnancy book, like my quarter life crisis, all of that has been shared in my books, in videos, podcasts, all the things. And people have always connected to it so much. Like the girls love to hear that they're not the only girly having a crash out, going through some tough shit in life. And I realized very early on that some of my experiences really could help other people. And so that's kind of how I got into doing all of these different things. And so here we are again. Next chapter, next rebrand. I haven't done anything in a while, and I think I can tie that into also while I was going through my divorce, getting through that transition, getting back up on my own feet and rebuilding my new life in my next chapter. Like, I think it was just a season of waiting to see what this was going to look like and feel like, and maybe what this next project or projects would turn into. And when I got the idea to do this, I was like, yeah, this is it. Because when we get into my journey, we'll get a little into this, but I think I really got to the idea for this podcast because I went through the first, it's been 2.5 to 3 years now since my separation began and my divorce and getting, starting life as a single mom, that it's really hard. And we're going to talk about that a lot on this show, the different difficult parts of being a single mom, but we're not only going to focus on the bad, because just like the title of this show, Single Mom Thriving, I have realized through my strength, through the life I've created, through the things I've had to deal with and overcome, mentally, emotionally, financially, life in general, there have been times where I've had to stop myself and be like, no, girl, you are fucking killing it. Like, you are thriving right now. You navigated this. You got through it. You have created a life for you and your daughter that's beautiful. She's happy. She's healthy. She's safe. And you've done, if we want to be honest, we've done 95% of it on our own. So that is something to shout from the rooftops about. There have been moments where I've been like, wow, I'm really like crushing this right now. Like, I've got school, dance, doctor's appointments, dentist appointments, laundry, the house. I've got everything running. I'm doing it all. I am the default parent. And I know a lot of single moms are going to identify with that term. And I'm sure we will do an entire episode on it. But it's not to say the other parent isn't involved. Nothing like that. But in most, not all, but most dynamics, when there is a single mother, the single mom tends to be the default parent that picks up all those extra and excess things. And there were moments where I realized I was doing that, and I was doing it fucking well, I might add. And I thought, no, bitch, you're a single mom thriving right now. And there have been so many times when I've had to stop myself in moments and be like, who would have thought when I was crying on the bedroom floor in my condo I was renting in between, that I would be sitting here being like, I'm thriving in this? Who would have thought that becoming a single mom would be something I would thrive at? And that was really when it hit me that I had to do something with this, that I had to talk about it, that I had to share it more. I had obviously shared it a little bit on, Instagram. I had made the reels, I had talked about the things, but something more like this, like concrete, like a project. I love being creative and creating new things. So I was like, if you're watching this on YouTube, I was like, let me order a neon fucking sign for above my desk in my bungalow, which is hot as shit upstairs. If you own a bungalow, let's talk about that. But I got a hot pink neon sign that says single mom thriving, and I hung it above my desk because I was like, bitch, you are. That is who you are, and that is what you are doing. So I hung it up, and I was like, this is going to be something. This is what they need to hear. This is what the single mamas need. Because there are times that I think we just get on autopilot. We don't get the recognition. We don't get the shout outs. We are busting our asses and we're handling it. We're handling it as single moms. And we're doing it well. And you don't always get that, hey, you're doing a really good job. Hey, I really appreciate how much you're doing. If your children are young, you're not getting the thank yous from them because they don't know at this point that they should be doing that. They don't know any better. You're just mom and you're supposed to take care of things. So like, I don't have someone telling me like, Mom, I see how hard you're working, because she's 4. She has no idea. She knows I'm just supposed to take care of her. But you don't always get that. And I started to notice that when I would get the messages from people I knew that maybe I hadn't seen in a while, or, just random people, even in dating. I will say, when I was single and dating, even men being like, wow, you're really fucking crushing it. Like, you're really doing this mostly on your own and you're doing a great job of it. Like, it took sometimes that recognition to be like, holy shit, I am. I really am. And I need to tell myself and remind myself of that more than just being overwhelmed and tired and, trying to fill everyone's cup plus my own and juggling all the things in life. It took people I haven't known, or not that I haven't known, but people that I haven't talked to in quite some time sending me messages that I literally screenshot them so I could look back at them later when I needed the reminder of like, girl, I just want you to know you're doing such a great job. You're such a great mom. You're doing awesome. And this is like, as I'm finally like in bed at 9 p.m., my 4-year-old's in bed sleeping with me and I'm catching up on like reruns of Real Housewives, then I'm like, oh my God, I'm almost tearing up. Like, I really needed to hear this right now. I'm fucking exhausted. I'm exhausted. And this is the only time I get to watch my shows is after she falls asleep in my bed before I fall asleep, maybe 30 minutes later because I'm tired and I had to get up early and take her to preschool. So it sometimes takes that recognition, hearing it from other people, hearing it from people that maybe aren't the people around you every day. Maybe they don't remember, or it just becomes such a part of everyone's life that they don't realize how much work you're doing and how much effort you're putting in and how much you love and pour into everybody. And so that's kind of my idea of what I want this podcast to be. Of course, we're going to talk about some, different topics. I plan on getting feedback from people and seeing what they would like to hear about, like experiences of mine we'd like to share, things that I've experienced that I think I should share because maybe they were difficult or eye-opening for me that another mom might need to hear. I want to do like Q&As, and I'm even already playing with the idea of, like we have to get some really cool, badass mom guests on here. Some single moms, but at the same time, I don't want to exclude people that aren't single moms. So we will be tying in some like normal mom episodes that you don't have to be a single mom, that are just going to address, sometimes the load of being a mom and how difficult it can be sometimes, how rewarding it can be at the same time, and really seeing all the facets of it for what it is, for what motherhood really is, whether you're single or not. But I happen to be a single mom, so that will be a lot of what I'll be talking about. But I am so excited to do this as that recognition to maybe the mom that doesn't hear it often enough, or someone that's just in the first days of becoming a single mom or soon becoming a single mom and just looking for something to lean on, a community, someone they can be like, oh my God, I needed to hear this. Because Lord only knows, when I first got into this, I had no idea what was coming. I was so in survival mode and shell-shocked and heartbroken and hurt that I don't know if I always navigated it the best. I don't know if there's things I could have done better. I know there's some things I did well. There's some things I wish I would have learned sooner, or ways I would have grown as a woman in certain situations better. I don't know how really else to word that. But I feel like I'm deep in it now. I feel at peace. I feel settled. I feel like I have done a shit ton of healing and therapy. If you haven't yet, I highly suggest you do. But I also want to share, my journey into healing after heartbreak, after divorce, starting to date again. I am in a wonderful relationship, which I want to talk about that as well, because dating as a single mom, finding love again as a single mom, digesting and trying to navigate relationships with two single parents, there's so many things. There's all the things here that we can dive into, and I just want to crack myself open and do it for all of you that might need to hear it. So I'm really excited to start recording episodes. Like I said, I want to do them on YouTube and on regular podcasts, so that if you're a visual person, you can watch it on YouTube and see my cute little setup with my neon sign and my pink fluffy microphone, which I had to get for this. Or if you're a car person, a workout person, a hot girl walk, a hot mom walk, you can listen to it on your walk, So I want my moms to feel seen. I want them to feel heard. I want you guys to laugh along with me at some of the ridiculous things we go through. I'm sure we'll have some tears, some crying, some emotional ones, some heavy ones, but some really happy ones. And the way I want to kind of wrap up this intro is, yes, I'm going to shameless plug my most recent book that I wrote. It is on Kindle and Amazon. You can get it at barnesandnoble.com, I believe, and it is currently being approved on Audible. I just recorded the audiobook. So if you are someone that loves an audiobook, it should be up there any day now. By the time this goes up, it might already be there. So you can find me on Amazon. You can check out all my other books. But my most recent book is how I want to end the note of this episode, and kind of the theme of how I'm always going to approach single mom thriving is I had this revelation, and we'll do a whole episode where we dive deeper into this book and that whole journey. But so many times in my journey as a single mom, I found myself saying, it wasn't supposed to be like this. It was not supposed to be like this. I wasn't supposed to be in this situation. This wasn't supposed to happen to me. This wasn't my plan. This wasn't where I was supposed to be. I found myself so many times fixating and ruminating on, this wasn't the plan. This wasn't how it was supposed to be for me. Being I'm a good person. I'm a good mom, a wife, and how did I get here? And in the beginning, being really stuck in that negative, this is not how things were supposed to be for me. And I'm sure a lot of moms can relate to that, because, we don't get married and have children expecting to be in this situation, sharing kids, sharing custody, going through divorce things. And oh my God, that's no fun either. We can talk about that later. But towards the end of my journey, these first few years since my separation, and really healing, doing the work, and getting settled in my new life and creating my new life, there came this moment where I truly shifted into the mindset of maybe it was supposed to be like this. And there are times that I never in a million years wanted to hear or think that. And it was really hard to get there. And some people, maybe in the beginning of their journey, might be being shut the fuck up. You're insane. But I got to this place of you know what? Maybe it was supposed to be like this all along. I got my daughter, my precious. She's my world. She's my everything. She's my best friend. I love her more than life itself. I got her out of it. I got a lot of really hard life lessons and growth. I had a lot of heartbreak and pain and deception that really, I think, molded me into knowing what I needed in my life, as far as when it came to a partner and someone that would love me, and how I wanted to be loved and how I wanted to be treated and respected. It taught me so much about myself that I can honestly say, at times, my divorce and this whole starting over and being a single mom has changed me and taught me more and been more difficult and evolving than even my sobriety has been at times. And it's crazy to say that because I always thought my sobriety would be the most impactful thing in my life. You know, it almost killed me and it changed everything about my life. It saved me. But my divorce hit different and it hit harder. And we will get into that in the episodes. But I will tell you guys, this book also kind of pushed me to want to do this podcast because I had so many women. I sell the book at the beauty bar. It's on all those places, but I've had so many people read it and connect to it. Not even just as single moms, but just people that have found themselves on a path in life that wasn't the path they thought they were going to be on. It's actually the subtitle of the book. It's called It Wasn't Supposed to Be Like This, Embracing the Path You're On When It Wasn't the Path You Thought You'd Be On. I have a beautiful foreword in the book by Carol Alwell. If you know, you know, The Champagne Diet. She has been such an inspiration to me through so many things. And I love being able to call her like a mentor and a friend. And I was honored to have her write the foreword for this about how her life turned out the way she didn't think it would be. She is a fellow divorcee, finding love again now. But that's how I want you guys to come into this podcast. We're going to talk about heavy shit. We're going to talk about everything. But always like having this in the back of your head that, you know, like maybe it was supposed to be like this. Maybe there's a reason, maybe there's a purpose, and maybe there's things that are going to come out of it that maybe you didn't quite see in the beginning, but one day you'll be able to look back and see them and maybe even be grateful for them the way I am now. So you guys, I'm so excited. She's back. I'm so pumped. I'm so excited to start podcasting again and putting it on YouTube and everywhere. If you guys are not following me on social media, please, please, please connect with me. I'm not that great at TikTok. She's old. She's a millennial. I'm trying. Instagram's where I'm the most active, or Facebook, but I would love to connect with you guys, get your feedback on the episodes, see what you want to hear and more. If you want to read more on my story, as I mentioned, you can check out my books. The old episodes of this podcast will still be there if you ever want to go back, but I'm really excited to dive all into single mom thriving with you guys and show you this whole new next chapter with all of my lovely little friends and followers and the women I love so much out there on the internet. So until next time, I will catch you guys on the next episode of Single Mom Thriving, and I love y'all so much.